You've spent a lifetime building love, memories, and connection. But now, something feels different. Maybe it's the long, quiet nights that used to feel comforting, but now feel distant. Maybe it's the subtle way you and your partner reach for each other less often, or avoid the topic altogether. Or maybe you've been alone for a while, and the idea of intimacy now feels like something from another life. It's not that the desire is gone. It's not that the need for closeness, warmth, and touch has disappeared. But after 60, intimacy can start to feel complicated. Bodies change, energy shifts, medication, menopause, surgery, grief. These things shape our physical and emotional landscape in ways we never expected. And here's the hardest part. No one really talked to us about this chapter. We were taught how to plan for retirement, not how to reconnect with desire after decades of life's wear and tear. And so many of us carry silent questions. Is it normal to feel this way? Is it too late for passion? Can I feel close to someone again, even if my body feels different? Here's what you need to know. Intimacy after 60 is not only possible, it can be deeper, more meaningful, and more fulfilling than ever before. And it doesn't take magic. It takes understanding, compassion, and a few gentle shifts that science and medicine now support. So if you've ever whispered these worries in the quiet of your heart, you're not alone, and you're not broken, you're just entering a new chapter. Let's explore how to turn that chapter into one of connection, confidence, and maybe even rediscovery. Hi there, I'm Michael, and welcome to Comfort Corner. This channel was created for one simple reason: to offer warmth, wisdom, and support for life after 60. Whether it's navigating health, relationships, or those quiet emotional shifts no one seems to talk about, we're here to walk beside you. Gently, honestly, compassionately, because aging doesn't mean fading. It means evolving into someone with more perspective, more resilience, and yes, still plenty of room for joy, closeness, and discovery. Now, if you're new here, I just want to say this. You're among friends. This is a space where we honor the beauty and complexity of later life, where no question is too awkward, no feeling too out of place, and no experience too late to be embraced with dignity and heart. So if today's topic speaks to you about how to maintain intimacy after 60 in a way that feels natural, safe, and emotionally real, stay with us. We're going to explore insights backed by medical research, thoughtful personal reflection, and practical guidance you can actually use. And if you find comfort here, please consider subscribing or leaving a comment to share your story. You never know who might be silently going through something similar, and your voice might be the one that helps them feel less alone. You can also share this video with someone you trust. Intimacy is personal, but it doesn't have to be private suffering. Together, we can open doors to healing, connection, and hope. So let's begin. Let's talk about what intimacy really means after 60, and what doctors quietly wish more people understood. Let's start by talking about something few people prepare us for: how intimacy evolves with age. We all know our bodies change as we get older. Our joints may ache, our eyesight may fade, and our energy isn't quite what it used to be. But what often goes unspoken is how those changes affect our sense of closeness, desire, and connection with others, especially in the realm of intimacy. After 60, intimacy doesn't just shift, it transforms. And that transformation is not a loss, it's an invitation. You see, for many people, the expectations we grew up with around intimacy, fast, spontaneous, physically intense, no longer match how we feel or what we need now. But that doesn't mean desire disappears. Far from it. What often happens is this: the body begins to respond more slowly. It takes longer to become aroused. Hormones like estrogen and testosterone, which play a key role in sexual function, begin to decline. For women, vaginal dryness and thinning tissue can make intimacy uncomfortable. For men, it may take longer to achieve or maintain an erection, or there may be changes in stamina. But none of this means the end of closeness. According to Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic, these changes are not only common, they're natural. In fact, doctors stress that understanding what's happening physically is the first step toward easing fear and frustration. Because when you know that you're not broken, you begin to respond with care, not shame. And here's what's truly beautiful. Emotional closeness often deepens as we age. You've lived a life, you've learned what patience means, you understand the rhythms of partnership, the weight of loss, the joy of quiet moments. Intimacy after 60 often becomes more about presence than performance. It's not about rushing, it's about recognizing a partner's breath when they sleep beside you, recognizing the warmth of a hand that has held yours through the decades, recognizing your own longing, not just for touch, but for connection that sees you fully, just as you are now. And yes, it's okay to grieve the differences. You're allowed to miss the fire of youth while still embracing the quiet glow of now. Doctors often remind patients, if intimacy feels different, that doesn't mean it's gone. It means it's growing in another direction, like a vine that no longer climbs upward, but instead curls inward, deeper, more rooted. The good news? There are ways to support your body, mind, and relationship through these changes. But the very first step is understanding them, without fear, without guilt, and without comparing yourself to who you were 20 years ago. You are not less. You are simply becoming again. And as we continue this conversation, you'll discover tools, practices, and gentle shifts that can help you feel more connected, more confident, and yes, more intimate than you may have thought possible at this stage in life. Because it's not about reclaiming your younger self. It's about meeting your current self with grace. Let's keep going. What might surprise you next is how much communication can change everything. If you've ever struggled to talk about your needs or even to know what they are now, you're not alone. For many couples after 60, intimacy begins to fade, not because love disappears, but because silence settles in. We stop asking, we stop sharing, we assume our partner just knows. But here's the quiet truth. Even people who've been together for decades still need to be asked, to be heard, and to be seen anew. Intimacy, at its core, is about connection, and connection lives or dies in the space between words. Think of it like a musical instrument. If you haven't tuned it in a while, it doesn't mean it's broken. It just means it's out of sync. And the only way to retune it is to listen closely. Doctors and relationship experts, including the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, AAS, emphasize that communication is the foundation of intimacy at every age, especially in later life. They explain that changes in the body, emotional state, or even medication side effects are not just physical problems to fix, they're invitations to start new conversations. So what does this actually look like? It's not about awkward sit-downs or heavy talks. It's about learning how to speak the language of intimacy again, gently, openly, and without blame. It could be as simple as, what makes you feel closest to me these days? Is there something you've missed that we used to share? Would you be open to trying something new, even if we take it slowly? And if this feels vulnerable, that's okay. Vulnerability is intimacy. Every time you risk being real, you offer your partner a bridge back to you. Now, if you're single or in a new relationship, these conversations might feel even more intimidating. But here's the gift. You have a clean slate. You get to define what feels good, what feels safe, and what kind of connection you truly want moving forward. In fact, many seniors report that later in life intimacy becomes more meaningful precisely because they're no longer playing roles or guessing. They're finally speaking from the heart. And if your partner is hesitant to talk, that's common too. Start with warmth, not pressure. Use touch, humor, and everyday moments to gently open the door. Sometimes a simple "I miss us" whispered during a shared cup of tea can do more than an entire therapy session, which, by the way, is another option. Couples counseling or sex therapy isn't just for people in crisis, it's for anyone who wants to grow closer. AA-Sex certified therapists, for example, specialize in working with older adults, helping navigate changes in sexuality and emotional closeness in ways that are compassionate and medically informed. But even without professional help, you can begin today. All it takes is one small sentence, a moment of courage, a willingness to say, let's find our way back. Because here's the miracle. Every conversation you avoid keeps distance alive. But every conversation you dare to have, no matter how small, plants a seed of reconnection. And those seeds, over time, grow into something stronger than youthful passion. They grow into trust. Up next, we'll explore how intimacy isn't always about sex, and why the most powerful kind of touch might not lead anywhere at all. Sometimes the most meaningful touch is the one that doesn't lead anywhere at all. When we think of intimacy, our minds often go straight to sex. It's what we were taught, after all, that intimacy is about performance, climax, and physical passion. But after 60, many people find that the richest forms of connection don't begin in the bedroom, and don't need to end there either. Doctors and therapists specializing in senior sexuality are now reframing intimacy altogether. They ask, what if touch wasn't a means to an end, but a destination in itself? Imagine this. You're lying beside someone you love, no pressure, no expectation, just the quiet rhythm of breath shared in stillness, a hand gently resting on a back, a head on a shoulder. That too is intimacy. And for many seniors, it's even more fulfilling than sex ever was in their younger years. According to research from Harvard Health Publishing, affectionate touch, like hugging, hand-holding, or sitting in physical closeness, triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin promotes a sense of trust, safety, and emotional connection. At the same time, it reduces levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that tends to increase with age and chronic illness. In other words, touch is not just emotional, it's medicinal. It's been shown to lower blood pressure, improve sleep, and even enhance immune function. And perhaps most importantly, it communicates what words often can't. For couples who are dealing with physical limitations, whether it's arthritis, surgery recovery, or conditions like Parkinson's or diabetes, traditional sexual intimacy may feel physically uncomfortable or emotionally distant. But that doesn't mean connection is lost. In fact, this may be the perfect moment to explore new expressions of closeness, giving each other a foot rub at the end of the day, sharing a warm bath, dancing slowly to a favorite song in the living room, laying in bed and simply breathing in sync. These gentle acts say, I see you. I still choose you. You still matter to me. And if you're on your own, please don't skip this part. Solo touch, too, is healing. A self-hug, a warm blanket wrapped around your shoulders, the act of applying lotion with care to your skin. These are ways to honor your body, to remind it, you are still worthy of love. You are still here. Aging doesn't erase the need for touch. It deepens it. It asks us to slow down, to listen, to tune in not just to the skin, but to the soul underneath. There's a beautiful term used in some therapeutic communities, skin hunger. It describes the very human need for physical connection. And like hunger for food, when it's ignored, it affects our mood, our health, our sense of well-being. So if you've been feeling distant, numb, or simply out of touch, literally, don't underestimate the power of reaching out. Start with a hand, a shoulder, a smile paired with touch, because sometimes the body remembers love, even when words forget how to speak it. Up next, we'll look at how to support your body with the care it needs, medically and naturally, so that intimacy, in whatever form you choose, can feel safe, comfortable, and even joyful again. Your body isn't failing you, it's inviting you to treat it differently. One of the most common myths about intimacy after 60 is that physical challenges mean the end of pleasure or connection. But here's what most doctors want you to know. Your body is not broken, it's adapting. And with a little support, both medical and lifestyle, you continue to enjoy closeness in ways that are both fulfilling and physically comfortable. Let's start with the most common physical concerns that affect intimacy in later life. For many women, menopause brings hormonal changes that lead to vaginal dryness, thinning tissues, and decreased elasticity. This can make intimacy painful or uncomfortable. For men, decreased testosterone levels can contribute to erectile dysfunction, ED, slower arousal, or performance anxiety. But here's the good news. According to Harvard Health Publishing and the Mayo Clinic, these issues are highly treatable. Doctors often recommend over-the-counter lubricants and vaginal moisturizers to reduce discomfort. There are also estrogen creams or vaginal rings that can safely restore natural moisture and elasticity, especially when prescribed at low doses under medical supervision. For men, medications like sildenafil, Viagra, or tadalafil, Cialis are widely used and considered safe for many seniors, as long as they're cleared by your doctor. These medications don't create desire, but they do support the body's natural response to it. Pelvic floor therapy is another powerful tool, especially for women. Specialized physical therapists help strengthen the muscles involved in intimacy and bladder control, which can improve comfort, sensation, and confidence. Now, beyond medical solutions, there's a whole world of gentle lifestyle changes that can enhance how your body responds to intimacy. 1. Diet matters. Foods rich in omega-3s like salmon and walnuts, antioxidants like berries, and healthy fats like olive oil support circulation, hormone balance, and even libido. 2. Exercise boosts blood flow. Regular movement, walking, stretching, even gentle yoga can improve circulation to intimate areas, enhance energy, and reduce stress. Plus, exercise releases endorphins, which can help reignite mood and motivation. 3. Hydration helps everything. Dryness, whether in the mouth, skin, or intimate areas, is often worsened by dehydration. Drinking enough water is a simple but vital way to support your body's natural lubrication. 4. Quality sleep is intimacy's best friend. When you're tired, your body shuts down non-essential functions, like desire. Getting consistent, restful sleep improves hormone regulation, emotional connection, and physical readiness for intimacy. 5. Mindfulness and relaxation techniques matter. Chronic stress triggers cortisol, which suppresses sexual function. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, or even spending quiet time outdoors can calm the nervous system and create space for desire to return. One more thing, please don't underestimate the emotional layer of physical intimacy. When your body changes, it can stir up grief, embarrassment, or self-doubt. But you are still lovable. You are still capable of connection. Give yourself permission to go slowly, to talk openly with your doctor, not just about blood pressure or cholesterol, but about intimacy and what matters to you now. Doctors are trained to help, but they can't support what you don't feel safe sharing. And if you're nervous, try bringing in a note or writing down a few questions before your appointment. That first step, asking for support, is a powerful act of self-respect, because at the heart of all this is not just a body, it's your body, worthy of care, deserving of pleasure, still capable of love. In our next section, we'll explore a deeper layer, the emotional barriers that often stand in the way of closeness, grief, shame, trauma, and how healing can make space for intimacy to bloom once more. Sometimes the barrier to intimacy isn't physical, it's a scar on the heart. You may be doing all the right things, communicating more, seeking medical help, slowing down, reconnecting with your body, and yet something still feels distant. Something in you withdraws, freezes, or quietly says, "Not yet." That something may be grief or shame or an old wound that never quite closed. At this stage of life, many of us carry emotional histories that are far more complex than we realize. Widowhood, divorce, betrayal, sexual trauma, body changes, a lifetime of being told what we should or shouldn't want. All of these leave fingerprints on our ability to feel close. You are not broken for feeling blocked. You are human, and healing is still possible. Let's begin with grief. After the death of a partner, many seniors find themselves frozen between longing and guilt. You may miss physical closeness, but feel disloyal even thinking about it. You may crave touch, but feel your heart is still tethered to someone who's no longer here. One widow shared that it took her 2 years just to wear perfume again, because scent had always belonged to the man she lost. And when someone finally hugged her, she cried not from desire, but from relief. That's grief. It lives in the body, and it asks for gentleness. There's no timetable. But healing often begins with allowing new forms of connection, holding hands, emotional closeness, laughter, without judging yourself. Then there's shame. Some grew up in families where intimacy was never spoken about, or in cultures or churches where desire was seen as sinful, especially for women. Or maybe you've simply looked in the mirror and thought, no one would want this now. Shame is a thief. It steals your ability to feel worthy of closeness. But you don't have to listen to it anymore. Therapists, especially those certified by AASECT, the American Association of Sexuality Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, can help you gently rewrite those internal messages. They're trained to work with older adults and understand that your story is not unusual. Healing may come through talk therapy, or through somatic therapy, which reconnects your body and emotions in ways that bypass words. Sometimes it begins in the smallest of ways, choosing clothes that make you feel beautiful again, looking in the mirror and practicing kindness instead of critique, saying out loud, I am still allowed to want. Trauma is the third layer and often the deepest. Whether it was abuse, neglect, or betrayal, trauma lives in the nervous system. It makes safety feel far away. It can turn closeness into fear. But here's what science now tells us. Trauma can be healed. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, doesn't stop at 30 or 50 or even 80. Safe, loving touch can retrain your body to feel calm again. And healing doesn't require you to relive the pain. It asks only that you allow moments of connection to unfold slowly, at your pace, on your terms. So if your heart carries old wounds, know this. You don't have to walk around them forever. With time, care, and the right support, you can walk through them into something softer. Because intimacy after 60 isn't just about rediscovering desire, reclaiming your right to feel close. Next, we'll explore what happens when that closeness starts from within, through solo intimacy and new beginnings, even if you're walking this chapter on your own. Whether you're partnered or not, intimacy begins with you. We don't often hear this truth, especially in later life. The world tends to assume that seniors are either settled into long-term relationships or have quietly retired from romance. But here's the thing. Love doesn't have an expiration date. Desire doesn't vanish with time. And intimacy, true, meaningful intimacy, can blossom whether you're with someone or simply reconnecting with yourself. For many older adults, especially those who are single, divorced, or widowed, this chapter offers something powerful, a chance to come home to yourself. Let's talk about solo intimacy. It's not about loneliness. It's about learning how to feel safe, whole, and deserving of pleasure in your own skin. According to research published by the National Institutes of Health, NIH, self-touch and solo sexual activity remain healthy, normal, and emotionally beneficial for people well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Why? Because they release endorphins, lower blood pressure, and support emotional well-being, just like partnered intimacy. But more than that, self-intimacy is an act of self-love. It might mean spending time moisturizing your skin with care, wearing something that makes you feel soft, powerful, or seen, even if no one else is looking. It might mean exploring your body gently and without judgment, reclaiming it not as a stranger, but as an old friend. When you treat yourself with tenderness, you teach your nervous system that touch is safe again, that pleasure is still possible, that you're still here and worthy. Now what about new relationships? Whether you're curious about dating again or already dipping your toes into the world of companionship, know this, you're not alone. More and more seniors are finding love later in life, and not just romantic love, but soulful, emotionally mature partnerships built on laughter, shared values, and honesty. But the rules are different now. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You're seeking someone who complements you, someone who meets you where you are, scars and all. If you're open to meeting new people, take it slowly. Online dating can be a tool, but so can community classes, book clubs, local events, or simply reconnecting with old friends in a new way. The Mayo Clinic reminds seniors to prioritize both physical and emotional safety when dating. Meet in public places. Let a friend know where you'll be. Don't rush into intimacy before trust is established. And most importantly, listen to your gut. At this age, you've earned your wisdom. Use it. Whether or not a new relationship becomes physical, what matters most is how it makes you feel. Safe, valued, respected, seen. Because intimacy after 60 isn't about returning to who you were. It's about discovering who you are now and choosing connection from that place of strength. So if you find yourself alone right now, take heart. This space is not a void, it's fertile ground where confidence can grow, where self-respect can deepen, where joy can return in unexpected, beautiful ways. And whether love comes from within or gently arrives in someone else's smile, You are already enough. In our final reflection, we'll bring together everything we've explored today and share small, gentle steps you can begin taking right now to invite deeper intimacy into your life. Let's take a quiet breath and gather what we've learned together. Intimacy after 60 isn't about returning to what once was. It's about embracing what is, with honesty, gentleness, and care. Over the past few minutes, we explored how intimacy changes as we age, not because something is wrong, but because our needs evolve. And when we listen to those needs without shame, something beautiful happens. Connection deepens. We began by understanding the natural changes that come with age, physical, emotional, and hormonal. Doctors from institutions like Harvard Health and the Mayo Clinic assure us these shifts are normal and treatable. What matters most is approaching them with curiosity, not fear. Next, we turn to the power of communication, because without it, even the strongest love can feel lonely. Whether you've been with someone for decades or are just beginning again, speaking the language of intimacy, honestly, kindly, can rebuild bridges you didn't know had crumbled. We also redefined what intimacy means. It's not just about intercourse. It's about touch that says, I'm here. It's about presence without pressure. Even a hand held in silence can hold more love than 1,000 words. We talked about supporting your body through safe medical options, daily movement, hydration, restful sleep, and nourishing foods. Your body may need different things now, but it still wants to connect. And it still deserves pleasure. Then, we looked at emotional blocks, grief, shame, trauma, and how healing is possible at every age. Whether through therapy, self-reflection, or simply letting your body feel safe again, you can gently unlearn the old beliefs that no longer serve you. And finally, we explored solo intimacy and new relationships. Whether you're rediscovering your own body or opening your heart to someone new, love doesn't end at any age. It simply grows in new directions. So what can you do right now? Just one thing, light a candle before bed and sit quietly with your thoughts. Reach for your partner's hand and simply say, I miss you. Write down one thing your body still does well and thank it. Moisturize your skin with attention. Say something kind to your reflection. You don't have to change everything overnight. Start with one soft, steady act of love toward yourself or someone close to you. Because intimacy after 60 is not about performance. It's about presence. And presence begins with a single moment of courage. Up next, we'll bring this journey to a close with a reflection and gentle invitation to keep growing, loving, and connecting wherever you are. If you've made it this far, take a moment to honor yourself, not just for watching, but for listening to your own heart, to your body, to the quiet ache that may have been waiting a long time to be heard. Intimacy after 60 is not about going back. It's about coming home, to your truth, to your needs, to the version of love that fits who you are now, not who you used to be. And maybe, just maybe, it's about rediscovering joy in places you thought were long closed, in a gaze that lingers, in a hug that lasts a little longer than expected, in a conversation where someone finally says, me too. If this video spoke to you, I hope you'll let it settle like a gentle reminder. You are still vibrant, you are still worthy, and connection, in all its beautiful, surprising, and soulful forms, is still possible. If you found something helpful here, I invite you to share it with a friend, a partner, a support group. You never know who might be sitting in silence, wondering if it's too late and needing to hear that it's not. And if you'd like to be part of a space where these kinds of conversations are safe, warm, and real, please consider subscribing to Comfort Corner. Leave a comment, share your story. You never know whose healing your words might spark. Because the truth is, intimacy is never just about the physical. It's about being seen. And here you are. I'm Michael from Comfort Corner, wishing you peace, health, and a heart full of hope.